What's up, everybody? I want to talk to you about navigating home sales in 2020. I'm Rob Howe of Elite Realty. Here we go. I wanted to talk to you today about selling during COVID. Well, we won't even say it because I think our search engines pick it up and they don't like me saying that from what I've been told. But we know what's happening right now. It's 2020, so that's changing how we're selling homes. Really, the most important thing that I want to communicate is why would you want to sell now, and why were you thinking about selling before we had the pandemic, right? That was probably pretty smart to wait at that time. But now, June and July have been very, very good for sales in Las Vegas, and I think that's going to continue for a little bit. And the reason why is because there are not a lot of homes on the market. There just aren't. You sellers aren't coming out. You're not coming out to sell your homes. And maybe some of you have decided, you know what, I'm not comfortable with getting my home on the market. But if your motivation is still the same and you still want to sell your home, now, maybe yesterday is the time because of low inventory. The natural fact of supply and demand is in play. You have buyers that are incentivized right now, and those buyers, guess what? The buyers that are out there right now are strong like bull. They are very, very strong because they have been vetted. And right now, if you have certain things going on, you probably can't buy. So the buyers that are out there looking, they know they can, and they want to take advantage of an opportunity. So yes, you have strong buyers, very strong buyers out there right now, ready to buy your home. And if your motivations haven't changed, you probably want to get your property on the market as soon as possible. Because what I'm a little bit concerned about is that whether it's, I don't know, late in the year or maybe more like springtime, we could see that all of you sellers decide to come out. Oh, everything's good now. Let's all go and put our properties on the market. Well, the problem that I see there is that you're all going to do it at once, and our buyer pool may have been shrunken by then. And depending on what interest rates are, depending on their incentives and their motivations, we may not see the robust market that we're actually seeing right now for you sellers. So if you wait, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball, and neither does anybody else. We don't really know what the future is going to hold. That's why I'm saying, if you're thinking about it, get the show on the road and put your property on the market. Now, there's some things that you need to know. For example, I'm going to go through a couple of things. If you're selling the property as an occupied home, in other words, you live in the home and you're selling. My dog is choking on something right now, so we'll let him go through the process of whatever he's... I'm not going to let my dog die.
Anyways.
I want to tell you about three things. I want to tell you about occupied homes. I want to tell you about tenant-occupied homes and vacant homes. I'll just start quickly with vacant homes. Obviously, not a whole lot of things that you have to be concerned about with vacant homes, other than making sure your photos and video of that home are absolutely amazing and that the property has been prepped and ready to go. If those things are happening, now you get into occupied homes, and we obviously have some guidelines that we've put into place that the GLVAR, that's a mouthful, Greater Las Vegas Association of Realtors, that's even more of a mouthful, and Nevada Realtors have put out as guidelines to help buyers and sellers right now during this time. So if you're actually staying in the home, of course everyone's going to want to wear masks, all right? You're going to want to have even some disposable masks available, and you're going to want to have hand sanitizer, which I now wear as cologne. I just put it on and I attract beautiful women in my life. It's strange, but
hand sanitizer. Yeah.
It works. Try it. But in all seriousness, you're going to want to have some hand sanitizer, and obviously do your best to distance everybody from each other. The way that the showings are scheduled, you want to schedule those things so that they're properly spaced out, so you're not having a glut of people that are waiting, in a line. We don't want that. We want one at a time, comfortable showings, if at all possible. And hopefully you're having lots of showings and getting multiple offers. And if you're in a certain price range right now, you could be doing that. So then we have maybe the more detailed, for sure the more detailed issue, which is tenant occupied listings. You can do it, but here's the big caveat, and it's a big one. You have to have your tenant cooperation. If your tenant doesn't want to do it, the sale is going to be hampered quite a bit. Now you could probably still put the property on market and make it a no-show, type of thing, and then they would do upon inspection of the property, and maybe you get your tenant to just really only take in one serious buyer at a time, the one that's already in escrow with you. But that's probably going to lose you some money, almost undoubtedly. So hopefully you can get your tenant to cooperate and make them feel very comfortable. And we have lots of guidelines when it comes down to how we deal with them. So all the way down to, when the showings, obviously, when it comes to the inspection of the property, how that's handled, when it comes to the appraisal, all these things bring in different people to have to come to the property. So we, in this time, have to be very understanding of our tenants. That's something that I would just absolutely stress. It's not impossible, and I think a lot of tenants, especially if you give them incentive, and if you're wondering what my thoughts on incentive would be, you can certainly contact me and I'll let you know directly. But upfront might be something that would help them financially, and as long as that helps you, it's kind of a two-way street, right? So I think tenants would be very open to that. If they feel like they can find another property without too much issue, or if you get lucky and you got somebody who wants to keep them in there. So those types of things are important to know about how we're dealing with properties on the market. We're going to have, you want to make sure you have a very capable listing agent. Now, whether or not you use me or somebody else, you want to make sure they are a rock star. They know how to list your property in this time, and that means getting in photographers, videographers, and even themselves doing their own little video vlogs and things on your property. As much as you can possibly expose the property in this time is going to do you a lot of favors. I used to be somebody who wanted to keep a little bit of mystery because I felt like that got people into the door. They would see your property, be intrigued, and they would want to see more. But in this time, we really want to show the property as much as possible and really put it in as many spaces out there in internet land as we possibly can. So obviously everybody's at home, everybody's looking at these things, and you want to get as many views on your property as possible. I think people are really enjoying that. They just love watching anything about homes. If you're looking to hire anybody to sell your home, you really got to make sure they're focused in on video. Lots of video, lots of photos, lots of things that are exposing your home. I think that there's a lot of different motivations for why people are purchasing homes right now.
California.
Let's talk about California a little bit, and just really any place that might be like California. I've been hearing Chicago, Illinois, for example, and even going as far as New York. Okay, some of these places are very expensive when you compare them to Las Vegas. They are places that are having some interesting other developments that have been going on, and I think along with everything that's happening, people are getting the feeling that they're getting pinched. They're getting pinched down, and they want to be in more comfortable situations. Well, guess what Las Vegas offers? A very comfortable situation when you compare it to a place like California or even Chicago or New York, or there's about 5 big ones on there that you could list that are just they've gotten expensive, and now that people are getting pinched, I think that's creating some motivation to find another place to live. You know what happened in 2008 when we last had a real horrible recession, the Great Recession as they would call it. That's basically when I started working in real estate, was 2009. This is very, very different in comparison. Why would now be a little bit different than in the past? I think there's going to be a lot of movement for people moving all over the place because they can now. Their job is not necessarily stuck in some cubicle or an office that they have to go to. They can now do a lot of it online, anywheres, from anywheres. And if their employer is willing to work with them and they can make basically the same money, but go somewheres where they can save that money and pay a lot less to live there and still have a lot of the amenities, minus maybe an ocean. We have a lot of little things that we can offer here that I think are really going to be attractive to people. One of the reasons why we are very different than we were in 2008 is because Vegas was one of the places that got hit very badly. This is happening equally everywhere. It's not like just Las Vegas, Arizona, and Florida. Those were big three that got hit really badly in 2008. I think that we're going to stand to hold up much better in this case because of our relative affordability to live here. You know, I've been here in Las Vegas all my life. I love this city, and I love that I've seen so much growth, especially in the last maybe 10 years, really since the Great Recession. We've come back stronger than I could have ever imagined, and that has attracted a lot of people. And those people who can be on the move on their jobs, those jobs that are coming here for tech jobs and things. So I think that's attracting a lot of those out-of-state buyers to come here and make Las Vegas their home. And that's why I think we're going to have a little different outcomes in this state, certainly than we did in 2008. So, you know, look, the banks are going to act much differently. I think I might actually use the word appropriately, because I'm more concerned about people that are renting right now than I am for the people that might have mortgage issues and not be able to pay their mortgage, because they're offering forbearance. Now that forbearance, this gets into some detail, but that forbearance allows them to not pay for a certain amount of time, and that's something you set up with the lender. And at one point, that may all come due at once. Well, that's going to be very hard for people to just cough that money up, which I wouldn't blame people for feeling like, you know what, I want to stay liquid. I want to have some funds. I don't know what's happening next. So I think the banks are going to get wise to that. Now, FHA has already announced that they are wise to it. I don't know all the details to it. So if you have an FHA loan and you're in this situation, they may be able to tack that forbearance onto your loan. When you're back on track, you can start paying your payment, and you have a larger loan by however much money, but you don't have some big lump sum that's all due at once. Now, if all the lenders end up doing something like that, which I think, you know, depending on the problem, they're going to assess how big the problem is, and they're going to offer to people what is necessary. This is how they're going to act very differently. They're going to be much different than before. And I'm thinking that 18 months to 2 years down the road is where we see some of these problems. You know, if we have them, that's where they might show up. And that a lot of it gets spread out so that it's a much lesser hit than what we're concerned about. These banks don't want to go through what they went through before. We're all in this together, so to speak. Where I am a little bit more concerned, and this is where I hope that we get some help, is for the renters. I've heard some interesting numbers on where we're at for potential evictions, and it's
astronomical.
Right now, rental market is incredibly strong. And again, it's hard to believe, but it is very, very strong still. We have to be able to be optimistic in this time for finding our opportunities. It is my opinion that we will have this one time in our life. This moment is one time. Now it's a matter of what you do with it that allows you to find where your opportunity is. You can either let all the fear and all the noise that's going on out there dictate and tell you that you're going to have negative experiences in your future because of all this, or you can find the positivity that is there, the gold within that you sometimes have to dig for, but it is there. You know, as you can see from this video, which is somewhat of just a lot of blah, 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 I can talk. I have plenty to say. I hope you got a little something out of it, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button. I've got a lot more silliness to come and a lot more seriousness, because I am serious about selling real estate, and now you know how. So contact me anytime. Let's get it going.